Today I'm going to show you how to save money on Lego using BrickLink. This may be good advice for you or somebody else you know who's buying Lego on the aftermarket and is unfamiliar with BrickLink. The advice I'm going to give you doesn't require you to buy anything on BrickLink, but we're going to see how the price guide feature as well as the wanted list easy buy feature can guide your purchases and prevent you from overpaying on anything. To start off, what we'll want to do is find the item we're looking to buy on BrickLink. BrickLink has a somewhat unforgiving search feature, so definitely go with the correct spelling of what you're looking for or something that you know is in the name of the item you're looking for. Another thing you can do is use outside tools such as brickignize.com. Brickignize works through your browser. All you need is a photo of the Lego minifigure part or set that you're looking to buy, and it'll redirect you directly to the BrickLink listing. So we're gonna start off by looking for, let's say we want to buy a Count Dooku. So if we look up the name Dooku, there's a whole bunch of gear. That's not what we're looking for. There's parts. What we're looking for in this case, we'll say we're looking for the minifigure. So this is the most recent realistic version of the Count Dooku minifigure, and immediately right here we've got the price guide. Now there's these three tabs here. I always just have the price guide pulled up because the minifigure inventory is the parts included in it, and the items for sale are individual listings. And often what you'll find is that many of them are not in the same country where you reside. So you may want to sort by that if you were to use this list. But looking at the price guide, we can look at the last 6 months sales. And what I think is always important when you're buying anything on an online aftermarket is look at sale prices or sold listings as opposed to current asking prices, because anybody can ask whatever price they want for anything that they want to sell. What really matters is when people actually bite. So it looks like over the last 6 months, the average price spent on this Dooku minifigure worldwide is around $65. One other thing that we can do here, which I believe is more important in the current day and age where there are tariffs and other import fees that come into play, you can group by currency. And now that we've grouped by currency, I live in America, I use the US dollar, but for other people, if you're using the euro, you would scroll down to there. But for me, this is relevant because people using the US dollar to purchase things domestically within the United States are spending around $70 on this fig. So that's $5 more than the previous price that we saw. And that's not even taking into account shipping. Speaking of shipping, people buying it with euros, and obviously there's an exchange rate going on here, but they may be charging less for their stuff because they know that Americans are going to want to buy it, and Americans are going to have to pay a larger shipping cost just to get it across the ocean. So they may reduce the prices of their items to counteract the high shipping costs that people would be willing to pay. Count Dooku here is a good example actually of the difference between a sold price and an asking price, because the last 6 months sales point towards this number, $70, where people are currently asking $92. And it also looks like over the last 6 months, there have been around 60 sales, whereas right now at this exact moment in time, there's only 30 on the market. So when there's a low quantity of items up for sale used, then they are able to kind of manipulate the market more, ask different prices than what you would expect looking at the last 6 months sales. Another thing you may have noticed is that I am looking at the used column in both of these areas, whether it's the current items for sale or the last 6 months. This minifigure is listed occasionally new, and often what you can expect from somebody listing something as new is that they pulled this minifigure straight from the box that it was sold in, separated it from all the other parts that came in that set, bundled up this minifigure. It may have never been assembled before. And so that can cost a premium on the aftermarket here, with an even wider gap between sold listings and for sale listings. Because even though this came from a widespread retail set, there's only a limited quantity in theory. So over time, there's going to be less and less available new. So let's take a look at how this applies differently to sets. Count Dooku here was in one set. We can navigate to that set, and here is a similar table, but instead for the set that he was included in. And obviously the prices here are higher, and what you'll notice is they're not actually that much higher. And what's going on here is that we haven't clicked this little box right here. This little box right here, exclude incomplete, will make sure that we're only looking at listings that included all the minifigures, everything. Once we click exclude incomplete, the price jumps, because what we're looking at here is some of them could have been sold without Dooku, and so that's bringing the average way down. We've got a new column, a used column, last 6 months, current items for sale, just like in the minifigure tab. But the exclude incomplete is going to be important if we're comparing this to other listings on the aftermarket. Now going back to Dooku, let's say you have a Dooku minifigure, but he's missing his hair and his cape. What we can do here is click here to look at the parts that constitute him, or we can go to the minifigure category here, minifigure inventory here. It's the same exact thing. So one thing we can do is we can go to these parts and we can look at the price guide for these parts, just like with the other stuff. But I want to kind of move on to a more advanced feature that BrickLink offers. So what we can do is we can create a wanted list. Now what we see down here is we've got hearts for wanted lists and we've got pluses for inventories. Inventories are for people who are selling on BrickLink, which anybody can do. Anybody can sign up to have a BrickLink store. But as consumers right now, we're in the consumer mindset, we're just going to look at the wanted list. So what we can do is we can click the heart here and we can create a new wanted list. I've got tons of wanted lists, just ignore those. We'll call this list Dooku. So we can click create. But what's also important is make sure you actually select that and then click add to wanted list. For you, you won't have to scroll past all that other stuff, most likely. Same thing when it comes to the hair here. We can click on the heart, add it to the Dooku list. So now both of those are in a wanted list and there's nothing else in that list. You can add as many items as you want to a wanted list. You can have as many wanted lists as you want. But what we're going to do is we're going to navigate now to the Dooku wanted list. To start, you go up to your icon in the top corner. There's a drop-down menu, you click My Wanted Lists, and then at the top here, there's Dooku. So there's this button right here, which is what this has all been leading to. You can click Buy All, and it will calculate where you can get both of those parts in one place. And that's important because when you're getting things on the aftermarket, shipping can really rack up. And when you're buying from multiple different stores, all to just achieve one project, and you're not even buying that many things from each store, then you are overpaying. So it looks like here you can find these two items in several stores. What we can click right here is auto select, and it's going to pick the one that it thinks is best for us. There's a bunch of stuff that it's taking into account. You may find that there's another store that has both the items you want for a higher price, but their shipping cost is lower. And so it's sort of a trade-off. You may want to scroll down the list and navigate manually as opposed to auto-selecting. One thing we can actually do using just this buy all feature is we can click create carts. So now we've created a cart and we can go to this store. So here we've landed in the store, and as you can see, we've already got two items in our cart here, and it's the hair and the cape that we need to complete our Count Dooku minifigure. It looks like, oh great, some of these stores, they'll make you wait for an invoice on how much shipping is going to cost, but it looks like here shipping is going to cost us around $8. The total of our items is around $10, so this is how much we're paying, and they have not calculated sales tax yet. In this instance, when you're looking maybe elsewhere outside of BrickLink that's going to sell you this hair, that's going to sell you this cape, you might be telling yourself, hey, I can get this for only about $10. And maybe at a Bricks and Minifig store or somewhere else, they're going to be asking you for $18 or something. And in this instance, that would actually be a good deal, because regardless of the fact that these are going for these prices on the aftermarket, you would still have to end up paying shipping from a lot of these different locations. So using the price guide to look at how things have been priced over the last 6 months, plus looking at current listings in the price guide to see where prices may be going, you can evaluate stuff that you find on eBay, stuff that you find in brick and mortar locations like Bricks and Minifigs, and see if the prices are good. Places like Bricks and Minifigs, they take the BrickLink price guide information into account when they are creating their prices. They're not one for one saying that's the price on BrickLink, that's our price here, but it is a factor that plays into their decision making when they're pricing out sets and minifigures at their store. Plus, Now that you know how to use the easy buy / wanted list features, you can see how much it would really cost you to source those items. You can save money in the long run by piling up a bunch of stuff in your wanted list and buying from as few stores as possible and getting the most from each of those stores. But in the case of you just wanting one specific item, then you may save money in places where they're charging you more than the last 6 months average price or the current listing price. Because those places, in person, they're not charging you shipping. eBay, the shipping's right there. Let's say somebody listed these two items on eBay for $14. And initially, you may think to yourself, I can get these for $10. Well, actually, you'd have to pay shipping on those items. So by taking into account everything we learned from the price guide, as well as the easy buy feature being able to guide us to the quickest store where we can get as many items as possible at once, you can now navigate the Lego aftermarket easier and know what's a good price, what's a bad price, and what falls in between. I came up with the idea for doing this video because I work at a Bricks and Minifigs location, and I'm often telling people how to find the right price on their items, whether they're bringing something into trade and they're not sure what it's worth if they were to sell it online, or if people are shopping from our cases or our shelves and they are wondering, hey, is this a good deal? Is this a bad deal? And I point them towards BrickLink to be able to see what other people have been buying that for or will be projected to buy that for in the future. Let me know if you want me to do more BrickLink tutorials in the future. This is the most useful tool for the Lego hobby. And I think that most people that I am friends with that are really into Lego, we can have whole discussions just regarding BrickLink listings. We could just scroll through parts lists, wanted lists all day, and there'd be a lot to talk about. So hopefully I awakened a BrickLink addiction in some of you, as well as am helping you to save some money buying Lego on the aftermarket. Like and subscribe, and thank you for watching.